Johnny used to work on the docks. United's lost track. He's down on his luckiest tug. So tough. Gina works the diner all day. Working for the man. She brings home her pay for love. Ooh, for love. She says we gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if you make it or not. We got each other, and that's a love for love. We'll give it a shot. I think I scared some people away from my singing. Oh, hello. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. I am Jaybefaunt Leroy. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. Just to let you guys know, the Jaybefaunt channel is available on all podcast platforms like Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, so you can subscribe to me there. I'm also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can go see me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1 p.m. or RBN Live on Tuesdays at 4, or the Sabby and JB Show on Thursdays at 6. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit down that subscribe button. Please, because guess what? The algorithm just doesn't like people like me. Let's be honest. But the people who do like me are the people who are subscribers to my patrons on Patreon, patrons on people on Coffee, people who just like the stream, people who actually trust me, and I deeply appreciate it. And without you guys, I wouldn't have a channel. So thank you so very much. Shout outs to everybody, as well as including members as well now. So I do have members too. So thank you so very much for everyone joining me today. Well, is this my first show back from the hurricane? Technically, yeah, it's my first live stream back from the hurricane. So yeah, it was Hurricane Ian, a week from yesterday, basically, where it hit landfall, and so I was without power for about 23 hours. And I wanted to make sure that you guys knew exactly what was going on, so I'd live stream from time to time, even though the cell signal was subpar at the very least. Um, it was glitchy because, well, of course, a hurricane was going on outside, but I wanted you guys to um, keep abreast of what was going on as far as here in Central Florida. There's a lot that has been went on in various different parts of the state. A lot of people have had lots of property damage and flooding. So unfortunately, you have a lot of people who are suffering right now. And on top of it, there's inadequate response to the people in need in these areas, and whether it be down there in Fort Myers or Punta Gorda, along the Gulf Coast of Florida right now, there's a lot of people who are actually not doing very well. So I would like to talk to more people from that area so that we can see what they're going through. And from what we're hearing right now, is the response is wholly inadequate. And of course, you have people like Governor DeSantis, who is the governor of this state. And when it comes to the disaster relief, I think one person that was interviewed said that it's starting to feel like Katrina as far as the relief efforts go. So unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are going through that right now. Um, so yeah, this is one of the reasons why um, you'll have some people who go, well, they should have been more prepared, you know, or they should have, took more, preparations in place. And a lot of times they don't realize the issues that come forth for people who are, have to evacuate. and I think somebody posted a a thread. I didn't think I was going to talk about the hurricane, so I didn't bring it up already. But the thing is that when it comes to evacuations and things like that, a lot of people say, "Well, you should have just evacuated." And it's like, evacuate where? Evacuate with what? That's the question. Um, and like I brought out before, you have a lot of people who also, when when you have a hurricane coming and all the businesses have to close, you also deal with the aftermath of that as well. And what is the aftermath after a hurricane? Well, a lot of people, they lost an entire day's pay. They can't make that up, right? So it's not like you can just take a vacation day and then have the paid vacation day and then, your pay is backstopped. You lose an entire day's worth of pay. And that could very well mean the difference between having your rent paid or the eviction process starting. Or that could mean having your rent paid, but you don't have enough for your electric bill. So your power may go out. Or that could be the difference between having rent and electric paid, but you don't have enough gas to go to work. See what I mean? See what I'm saying? And that kind of goes along in line with what I'll be talking about a little bit later in the show. But the thing is that you have a lot of people who do not have the means to be able to survive or even deal with natural disasters like Hurricane Ian, what we had last week, because the economic floor that they need to have just isn't there. So that's why it is so important to have a system where it is not based on profit, but based on people. Because if you base it on profit, who's going to suffer, right? The people suffer, the ecological systems suffer, including the animals and plants and insects, the things that actually make our ecosystem what it is, and so that we're able to survive on this planet. So that's something that I think a lot of people just don't really take into account when they talk about, well, why don't you just evacuate? It's like, okay, do they have transportation to evacuate? Okay, they have transportation, but where are they going to evacuate to? Do they have enough gas to get to where they need to go? Do they have enough for the accommodations? Do they have enough food to go to where they need to go? Do they have enough money to replace the food that goes bad from the power outage after they come back? Do they have money to backstop them from the lost hours of work that they didn't have because they had to get back from the hurricane? Do they even have time to take off to clean up their houses, clean up their property in order to recover from the hurricane? What about their parents that are maybe elderly? Or what about a family member that has special needs? What about their children? You see, these are things that some people don't think about. Just evacuate, just get out of there. How? How? So, this is why when I talk about economic issues, the way I talk about it, is that a lot of times people say they put that just lift yourselves up by your bootstraps type of mindset and don't realize we ain't got even no boots to put on. And it's not your fault that you don't have boots because the system is rigged against you. That's the way it is. And a lot of people don't realize that. So, so yeah, but I went all that to say that I fared okay during the hurricane because I was lucky, right? Number one, my mama is basically a Walgreens herself. So, when it comes to things like candles and LED lights and things like that, my mother already had like a reservoir of stuff like that. And then she had a reservoir of like tuna fish and crackers and canned goods and stuff like that, just in case. So, I was good. And then she did her due diligence and got a lot of ice and a lot of water. Well, not a lot of water, but she got what she could with the funds that we had. And then some of you came through with mutual aid that also helped. So I was able to get some gas in her car, which was a blessing because we had to charge our phones in the car because the portable chargers that I had were wholly insufficient. Um, and then on top of it, thanks to the utility workers, because they were on point. 23 hours, and then boom, power is back on. Only after 23 hours. Last time during Hurricane Ida, we were out for 3 days in the middle of August, and the heat was in the 90s. And if you know Florida Heat has a lot of humidity. So it was death out here when Hurricane Ida came. But this time, it was chill. It was chill. It was cool. So, and I was lucky compared to a lot of people, especially on the Gulf Coast. I'm lucky compared to them. And thank God I didn't see hardly any structural damage at all since I traveled, to and from dialysis basically and looked around. So, I just want to thank everybody who was, who was thinking about me, who was sending me well wishes during the hurricane. I really appreciate it. Um, and I'm glad I made out okay. So, and relatively, you know, nothing really bad happened to me. So, I Hurricane Ida, was it Ida? It was like 2, 3 years ago. It started with an I, but yeah, but it was bad. 3 days, no power. Florida heat, no. But I want to give my hellos to everybody in the chat. To say hello to all of you. By the way, as customary, I have my tea. Oh, it's good today too. Mm-mm-mm. Yep, good stuff. I want to say hello to everybody that's watching on YouTube, Twitch, and Rockfin. So good to see all of you this afternoon. And first of all, we have Bestie Sweary Fairy in the chatty today saying, "Hey, besties, hope you're all good and having fun today." Thank you so much, Sweary Fairy. We have Snarky Lotus Nicole on the Twitch side. The Crip side. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you as well. What is that? Rats and bats, or I can't see too well. Maybe because it's Halloween. We're close to Halloween. But good to see you. Nice to have you. Venti Cafe says JB concert. Yep. Here making people's ears bleed. one lobe at a time, baby. All right. Yipper99 is in the chat saying hello. Hello, Yipper. So good to see you as always. She's Brack says, in a capitalist system, the response for a hurricane will always be inadequate. Absolutely. I agree. And it is always inadequate because somebody always ends up suffering. But thank you so very much. Harry Christopher is saying, "You're awesome, James." Oh, man, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She's Blessed says Vietnam's response was amazing. Luna posted some great videos about Vietnam. I would love to talk to Dr. Luna Oy. I would love to have a conversation with her. She's brilliant. And yes, I would love to have a conversation with her about Vietnam and how they do things over there. That'd be great. Okay. Wari Pilgrim. Did I say it correctly this time? I want to make sure I got it correctly because I'm gonna work until I get your name corrected. Wari? Did I say it right? Wari. I hope so. I'm trying to remember. I'm getting old. My memory's not that great, but good to see you as always. All right. You see, Creative Experiment says evacuate your SUV to your to your second home, pay with your paid time off. Oh, and your landlord doesn't stop charging rent even if your apartment is destroyed. Yes, that's another thing. Like, if your apartment or condo suddenly becomes unlivable, do you still have to pay rent? I would say no, because I'm not paying for something I'm not going to be living in. And even if it's through half the month, prorate it. I'm not paying the entire rent. Good one, Creative Experiments. Good one. Yes, yes. Listen to She's Black. Hit the like button, please, pretty please. Thank you. All right. So, who else do we have in the chat? You see, who else? Uh, Ian Hurricane missed Florida's nuclear power plants. I'm trying to think. I think I know of one, but that's like southeast of the international airport. It looked like a nuclear power plant, like a big, like, curvature smokestack. I think that's a nuclear power plant. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know. I don't know if it is, but it looked like one. It looked like the one off The Simpsons. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I'm basing it off of, which is not a really good thing to base it off of, especially for somebody like me that isn't media. But I got a wild imagination, so sue me. But yeah, that's the only one I think that's near us. But even then, that's still very, a few miles away. But thank goodness. Yipper99 says Florida fall is probably spring. Yeah, yeah, it's like spring weather during the fall. It doesn't really get that cold. Jenna Kobe saying hello. Hearts, sparkly hearts. So good to see you. Wadi says, nah, a boot isn't really a thing outside the Atlantic region. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador, Prince Edward Island. Oh, okay, you're talking Harry Christopher. Okay. War E is it? It'll stick soon enough. Thank you so very much. John Schmidt saying poor full-time workers. Yes. Yeah. That's going to be on the docket today. Oh, hang on. Don't do that. All right. Okay. Reality Revolution. Hey, Reality. Good to see you. All right. James, you got a shout out on Jimmy Dore's show, but he called you Jay, not JB. Really? I did? When was this? Because I have no idea. Was it was it yesterday? Nobody. You're the first person that told me this. I have no idea. That's some good tea. Thank you. Hmm. Hmm. I have no idea. Swear Fairy says, oh, I don't know if you were in Sabi's chat. Yes, I was. But I got my permit. But yeah, and guess where I'm gonna road trip next year? Nice. Congratulate everybody! Congratulate Sweary Fairy on her permit, her driver's permit. Congratulations, bestie. All right. So Harry says, yeah, dude on Twitter, he read one of your tweets, I think. Not it was a few weeks ago. I think he did. I think I remember that. Yeah. My brain is slow today. The tea is helping, but it's still a little slow. Anywho, now to the topics at hand. So one of the things that I want to talk about, and I want to give a shout out to Roger Meadows. Roger Meadows brought actually both of these stories to my attention, with which I am deeply appreciative of. And the first one I'm actually going to be starting off with is the Cuomo brothers, Cuomo and Cuomo. So Andrew and Chris Cuomo. What are we going to say about these two brothers? Who is Andrew and Chris Cuomo? Well, anybody who knows about New York politics, they are the sons of the former governor, Mario Cuomo. Mario Cuomo was the former governor of New York, and Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo are basically brothers in a political dynasty. So, because they are in a political dynasty, they were already in the spotlight since they were young. And so this also means that, it made them more privy to privilege within New York politics and media. So guess what? Well, Andrew Cuomo became governor of New York, and Chris Cuomo became one of the primetime anchors of CNN. So because of that, they basically, one, you had on the corporate media side, right? But before he was on CNN, he was also on ABC. He was on ABC News, and in fact, he was on Good Morning America. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys remember that, but I remember because I used to see him on Good Morning America until he moved over to CNN. But he was basically part of the whole New York, corporate media scene. And so you had him and basically his brother. So right now, they're thinking about making a comeback. And what does this comeback mean? Uh, is it good? Is it bad? What does it mean? Well, why do they need a comeback? Comeback from what? I'm glad you asked. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen really quick so that you guys can see what I see. Yes, see what I see. Sort of omens. Okay. Remember that from Thundercats? Sort of omens. Give me sight beyond sight. Oh gosh, I'm showing my age, baby. Yep, that's right. I'm that old. Some people who are older than me can be, oh, JB, you're not that old. Well, it depends on who you're talking to. Gen Z will look at me and be like, oh, JB, you're old. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got gray on my chin, so I have a right to say that. Anyway, so this is from the Hollywood Reporter. Once again, shout out to Roger Meadows for sending me this. The title is Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo Plots Comeback with Candid Podcast. Subheading says the former politician is joining his younger brother, former CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, and turning to podcasts to return to the public eye. Wait. Wait. Oh gosh. Hang on. after what happened, they're like, hey, can we come back now? Are we good? We good? You make wait. Hold up. Can you wait, chat? Can you guys believe this? The fact that they're like, oh, we're gonna try to come back on a podcast. Like, dude, do we look like a bunch of sorry suckers to you? Is podcasting somehow a new version of Dancing with the Stars? Is that what it is? Where you're basically a bunch of political and media has-beens, and then you guys are trying to recover your careers by just coming back via podcast to make yourself look good again? After what you did, which I'll be covering in a second. But after what you did, you're like, let's do a podcast now. Andrew, retire. Live off your pension. You're good, bro. Why are you trying to come back? Why? Chris, I know you got a nice hefty nest egg, saved up. So guess what? Bro, retire. You can do it early. You are making millions of dollars a year. Why do you need to make a comeback? Why? If I had as much money as Chris or Andrew Cuomo, would I be trying to make a comeback? By the way, Andrew Cuomo came out with a book. You know he made millions of dollars off that book. Why would I be making a comeback? Dude, you're rich. Retire. Go play golf somewhere. Go. Why are you coming back into the media space? You stuck it up, and now you're coming back again with your stink behind? Come on. Really? Really, bro? Like, here's my thing. After what y'all did, right? Why are you trying to make a comeback? You can look. I know y'all probably got kids and grandkids that you can spend time with. Do you think our memory is that short? Look, unfortunately, I still remember the phrase Cuomo-sexual. I can't get that crap out of my head. It's burned into my brain. And unfortunately, since I have to suffer, all you who are watching have to suffer too, because I just reminded you of it. And guess what? Now it's burned into your brain. You're welcome. I'm not suffering alone. No, I'm not suffering alone. Cuomo. Sexual. You're welcome. That's my thing, right? I haven't gotten to reading the article yet. And y'all already know what I'm about to go. You know me. You know me. And some of y'all from New York, y'all know me. Shall continue, unfortunately. Oh, God. All right. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is aiming to make a public comeback with a new podcast at the center of his dastardly evil plans. Cuomo on Wednesday posted a video to his social media accounts in which he laid out his comeback effort, which will include a new super PAC and gun safety effort. Okay, let's stop there. Super PAC? Super PAC? Super PAC. All right, let's move on. Okay. But the podcast, that will be great. I'm sorry. Did they do a typo in the Hollywood Reporter? but the podcast that will be at the heart of the attempt to return to the public. Wait, is that a grammatical error that I found in the Hollywood Reporter? But the podcast that will be at the heart of the. It's supposed to be, but it's the podcast that will be at the heart of the attempt to return to the public's good gracious. They forgot the apostrophe S on it. Wow, I just caught a grammatical error. And I never catch those. If I caught those, somebody else caught it. Anyway, I'm going to do my best Andrew Cuomo impersonations possible. Please bear with me. And if you guys need to, just mute the video while I'm talking because, well, it's not going to be that good. I'm sorry. He says, my intention is to speak the whole truth, unvarnished, from the inside out, frank and candid. Cuomo said on the video, this show will have the different formats, but more than anything, I want to have a conversation with you because it's about you and you having the right information and your political will to make a difference. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Having the right information and your political will to make the difference. Let me ask you this question, chat. Just a question. What new or different information can he give us that we don't already know? What is it? What new information can he tell us about the Democratic Party, the inside of the Democratic Party that we don't already know? What can he tell us about the duopoly, the machine that runs the duopoly? What can he tell us about it that we don't already have in mind already? What new, more exciting information? Because the thing is here's the problem, okay? Step one, he's already got a super PAC, which means that he's already involved with corporations. So, boom, guess what? Is he really going to be giving us anything that is insider information that would really bring down the corporations? No. He wants those advertising dollars. He's trying to make bank. So, he's not going to do that. Okay. So, he's basically going to be doing a Claire McCaskill, right? Think of all these people who were politicians who either lost their campaign or had to resign from office, and then they end up on corporate media, and then they're like, well, I have a perspective from being inside. And what did you learn? Like the song War, absolutely nothing. Nothing. You don't learn anything new from them. And they can say, well, when I was talking to this person, and when I met with Kissinger and Obama and Clinton and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what new information do you give us? And there's nothing. Unless he's willing to come out against the oligarchs and the machine, unless he was willing to actually go against the grain and go anti-capitalist and be like, look, this is what's really going on, then I would be like, oh shoot, okay, all right, okay, come on, let's talk, bring it out. But we already know he's not going to do that because he already gave it away. Super PAC, okay, yeah, he's still in line with them. He's just trying to make his comeback to be back in the good graces of the public. He's trying to Cuomo sexual his way back in. Sorry, I did it again. I'm sorry. But that's the thing. Excuse me. That's what he's trying to do. Weasel his way back into the hearts of liberals, right? And so there is no real true I want to reveal the truth. No, he just wants to continue to work for the machine. And then maybe, just maybe, he can make an appearance on CNN a couple years ago again. Maybe. Am I wrong? Did I? Am I inaccurate? Is this a bad judgment on my part? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. That's how it feels to me because I'm just like, nah, bro. Mm-mm. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You're not doing that. Anywho, let's get back to the article. And I hope my Andrew Cuomo was okay, but I don't think it was. Anyway, Cuomo resigned as governor last August. Mind you, this is over 1 year ago. After facing allegations of harassment and retaliation in a report from New York Attorney General Letitia James. His departure also ultimately led to the firing of his younger brother, former CNN anchor Chris Cuomo. The CNN anchor was terminated in December, less than a year ago, after his deposition to James revealed the extent to which he helped his brother respond to the harassment allegations. In fact, Cuomo is joining his younger brother and using a podcast to make his comeback attempt, with Chris Cuomo launching his own effort, the Chris Cuomo Project, in July. That was a couple months ago. The former CNN anchor subsequently secured a new primetime show on News Nation. I don't even know what the hell News Nation is, baby. Oh well. The cable news channel owned by local TV giant Nexstar. Cuomo's show is slated to debut in October this month. Interesting timing for this article to come out. The former governor also seemed to share a point of view with his younger brother, who was positioning himself as insurgent. He's like, wait. The former governor and former corporate media anchor is like, we're going to be insurgents. We're going against the grain, even though we'll be taking corporate money. Can y'all believe, Lord, insurgent. Y'all know I can't be serious for this entire time, guy. Insurgent. Oh my gosh. These motherfuckers said insurgent. That is. Wait. Hang on. It gets better. Okay. Who is positioning himself as an insurgent that is independent of both political parties in his podcast and upcoming TV series. What? Say it ain't so. Somehow you made the switch from Democratic Party insider to insurgent in that amount of time. And now you're like, oh, I'm going to show the ins and outs of the Democratic Party. Well, you got a super PAC who's most likely going to be giving money to who? Anyone? Anyone want to chime in? Who's going to be giving money to? Is it going to be giving money to Democrats? Maybe progressives? My voice going to go high. Like, come on, bro. Oh, really? Come on, man. Come on, Andrew, Andy. Come on, bruh. What? What do you take us for? See now the inner Jersey in me is coming out. Andy, what do you take us for? You're sitting here telling us that, oh, you're going to be an insurgent. And then next thing you know, we're just going to be, oh, well, let's believe him. Let's listen to his podcast. And then he's going to get money from all these corporations and he's going to give it to a super PAC. And he's going to give it from a super PAC to Democratic politicians, thus feeding the same exact machine that he's an insurgent for. Make that make sense. It doesn't. I'm having fun doing this show today. Can you tell? Damn, what is in this tea? Ooh. It's like cocaine. Anywho, not that I know anything about that, but let's continue. Oh God, I can't even get through this thing. All right, fine. The first step is to establish the facts, not Democratic facts or Republican facts, but actual facts. Unfortunately, today we are short on facts and long on opinion, and we need to fix that. You know what? This part is actually correct. Unfortunately, today we are short on facts and long on opinion. He's right. That's actually correct, Andrew. But here's the thing that you don't get. Why is it that way? So, in the what I like to call the demo Republican Party, because they're all one party, what happened? Well, the Fairness Doctrine, they got rid of it, right? The Fairness Doctrine. And then what happened under Bill Clinton? Well, wasn't it the telecommunication? Was it? Wait, hold on. It was. Gosh, it was an act that. Damn it, not Telecommunications Act. Was it Telecommunications Act? Hang on. I forgot the name of the act. Was it? Was it? Wait. Was it Telecommunications Act of 1996? Hang on. Oh yeah. Okay, I was right. Okay. I just want to make sure. But yeah, it was the Telecommunications Act of 1996. So who signed that into law? Right, Andrew? It was your buddy Bill. Your buddy Bill Clinton signed that into law, which now means that because the Fairness Doctrine is no longer there, and because of the consolidation of all these media conglomerates that actually now are owned by just maybe 4 or 5 companies in the United States, now people can just place their opinion and place it as fact, i.e., people like Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow. They literally on a prime time on some of the largest cable news stations in the country. And in court, they're not even classified as news. They're classified as entertainment. But they come off as news reporters, and people believe them. Because they're giving opinion And guess what? I hate to break it to some people, but sometimes people's opinions are wrong. And it's based on propaganda or half truths or just falsified information, misinformation. That being said, guess what? Yes, you're right. There is a lot of opinion. But whose fault is it that opened the floodgates for that? Andrew, wouldn't it be both parties that you said you're going to be an insurgent for? That you're going to be making a super PAC so that you can put more people into these parties, which you're supposed to be an insurgent for? Am I? Did I miss something? Now, before I go into exactly what Andrew Cuomo did, I'm going to go to the chat really quick because, well, you guys got a lot to say. Creative Experiment says, who is Cuomo's first guest? Juan Guaido. No, Juan Guaido is going to actually become the new host of Cuomo's show because he likes to take over things that don't belong to him. And he likes to take over things that was never his to take over in the first place. Yeah. Cobra Commander says, I don't know why podcasts are popular again. Back in 2006, that's all we had. Take your device and RSS download a podcast each week. All right. Yipper99 says, creative. I say, in my Amanda Priestley voice, groundbreaking. Wari says he might, likely only if Trudeau steps down. Oh, you guys are talking about something else. I'm sorry. Y'all having other conversations in the chat. Mouse that says going to interview Harvey Weinstein from lockup for sure. Birds of a feather. Cuckoo. Cobra Commander says it doesn't work here now. Let's see. Oh, you guys are having a whole conversation. Let's see. Gary Seth. I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. All right. Let me see. Gary says Demopocalypse 2022. Yep. Harry Christopher says, fuck that telecommunications after 1996. We need to nationalize telecommunications industry and nationalize media companies. I agree. But, yeah. But my opinion is in short order in this country. Corp Commander says, I cultivated the source, made it up meme. Hey, CBC voter, good to see you in the chat. All right. Moused it says, there were so many telecom managers, I can't even find out who owns my master tapes from the early 90s. Wow. Crazy. Okay. Damn, BDE let you get away with anything, but it doesn't explain Trump. BDE. See, my mind's going in some places that it shouldn't be going when I see BDE. Is that what you mean, Gary? Because I'm curious. Yeah, we love you, JB. We having chats without you. It's all good. Look, there's multiple conversations going on at the same time. It's good. It's it's kind of like being in a like a community center. Where you have different conversations going on. Which is cool. He's nice. Rick says, I saw a part of Cuomo's new show on News Nation. He was just pushing U.S. intelligence talking points about Russia and Ukraine with former military official. Same old, same old. Why should we? Exactly, Rick. Hang on. Here's my question. Why should we go? Why should anybody migrate from CNN to News Nation to see you talk about the same things that CNN is talking about by pushing the same propaganda that CNN is pushing? What's the difference? What is the difference? I see nothing. Where I'm sorry, Wari says, yes, it was a boon in a sense for the animation industry at the time, but it also polluted the landscape with even more commercialism, especially for the susceptible children. Yeah, yeah. I can tell you, I remember a lot of commercials from back in the 90s. And man, yeah. So yeah. Let me see. I'm not going to tell you what it is because this is a family show. Even though I cussed already. I'm such a hypocrite. I'm reading it. I'm not saying it. That's it. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel, everybody. Okay. All right. So, so what did Andrew Cuomo do? What did he do? What did it do? Hang on. Let me go to the chat. Hang on before I continue because I want to make sure I get this to this comment. Okay, so Roger Meadows, good to see you in the chat, brother. Roger says, thank you for the chip, by the way. My man who I was telling you about, who I was trying to get you on your show, is not a camera person. However, he recently, since past 2 years, for the past 2 years, has had to leave his job and get on dialysis and has diabetes, and told me he's on workers' comp and DSS. I think that's disability. Said that he said that the state is taking most of his federal disability, I guess, leaving him with hardly any to pay his cell. He had to lie about his car, saying it's his brother's car. Oh gosh. They told him if he finds a new source of income, they must tell him. He asked, will they take that too? God. They told him yes. He said, well, then I ain't telling you. These fuckers with these fucking means testing, who never means tested billions, trillions given to their donors. They want people to be and stay in poverty and not get off the system. No freedom of movement. The state wants to control your life. A blue state. Does Florida do this? Florida, I mean, we don't have a state disability apparatus like that. Um, and so when it comes to disability, it's all federal. So if it's all federal, that means that the same thing that the Social Security Administration does in New York, the same thing they do here in Florida. So your income has to be reported to Social Security. And if it goes above a certain amount, then even if it goes over by 1 cent for, I think, maybe like 6 months, they cut off your entire disability benefits completely. That's how it works. And so, yeah. And you're only allowed to earn so much. Once you earn more than that, then they say you're no longer disabled, even though you still are. You just found a way to get more money. Well, slightly more than what they've been giving you. And by the way, what they give as far as disability is concerned is wholly inadequate to live on. I mean, the average amount anybody gets on disability per month is maybe $1,100, $1,200 a month, somewhere around there. And given the fact that the average rent in the United States is between $1,500 and $1,700 a month, that means that more than 100% of anybody's disability check would go towards rent, which means they have absolutely nothing left. Then on top of that, you have a lot of us who can't even apply for rental assistance or housing assistance because a lot of these housing programs are backstop or backlog for years. So yeah, unfortunately, that is the way the system operates. Basically, you're punished for not being a producer, or you're punished for not being, for not being productive in the capitalist sense. That's basically what it is. Um, that's how the system works. Thank you also for this tip as well. Um, Roger Meadows says, "Go against the grain." What the fuck? The Cuomos are the grain. Yeah, you're right. So they're going to go against themselves. Former GOP Governor Pataki back in 2014 created a PAC called Republicans for Cuomo. Oh my God! Hillary, Obama, and now Cuomo, or who? Some here in New York call Prince Andy. you know, father being governor, trying to come into our space like CNN plus Fox and MSNBC are continuing to fail miserably, and they will fail as well. It, yeah, yeah, you're right. They are definitely the grain. Like, holy crap. It's like you are like it's like, dude, you are the establishment. Chris Cuomo, you are corporate media. What? Insurgents. Oh, okay. Thank you, Roger. Department of Social Services, New York State controls the Fed money. Okay, Department of Social Services. Okay, so yeah, so for us, it's Department of Children and Families here in Florida, and Department of Children and Families is the one that implements Medicaid as well as SNAP benefits, food stamps, basically. Um, my food stamps, I don't care about disclosing this because it's whatever. I get $24 a month in food stamps. That's it. $24. I didn't stutter. Well, I just did just now, but I didn't stutter. $24 in food stamps per month. Oh, it's an increase from $16 last year. That's what we get. And in order for me to be able to have full Medicaid, well, I don't even have full Medicaid right now. I really don't, but it's whatever. But in order for me to be able to have Medicaid, I have to be below a certain income bracket. Because if I don't, then guess what? Here's a little lesson for everybody. Did you know that you have to pay premiums for Medicare? Yes, you have to pay premiums for Medicare unless you fall below a certain tax bracket. Once you fall below that certain tax bracket, here in the state of Florida, then you can apply for Medicaid. And then once you get Medicaid, if you make a certain amount or lower, then guess what? I think it's when you get share of costs, then they will pay your premiums for you. And so Medicaid will pay the premiums for you, and you have your Medicare. But if you are even slightly above that while you're still struggling, then the Medicare premiums come out of your check. Disability, by the way, or Social Security retirement, or supplemental security income, SSI. So you have to pay that if you have Medicare. So yeah, even thus on Medicare, people be like, "Well, that's federal health insurance." Yeah, but we still have to pay premiums. Funny, we have to pay. We have to literally pay the government for it. Wild, huh? Why do we have to pay back the government money for the insurance that we're getting, even though we're already paying taxes? And even from an MMT standpoint, it's federal dollars. Why are we paying federal dollars, especially those of us who are poor or even working class? Why are we paying that money back? For what? I can understand if you're taking it away from billionaires, but even somebody is making $50,000, $75,000 a year, if they're on Medicare, why do they have to pay premiums? They're already paying that, they're already paying through their income. But that's the way the system works. It punishes you for being poor. That's the way it is. And that kind of goes in line with what, I'll be talking about in a second. But thank you for that also as well, Roger Meadows. Appreciate it very much, brother. Um, Gary says the Democrats can't keep their sketchy in the closet. Oh gosh, yeah. You see, Reality Revolution says, "Careful, Cuomo got peeps. Hate to see you fall down the steps or get hit by a car." Look, I know what's up. Trust me, I know what's up. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, how JB? How do you survive? Mutual aid, baby. How else? Look, just because I'm on, stream and just because I'm on YouTube doesn't mean I'm making much money right now. Look, I'm at what's a little over 1,700 subs. That's not that's nothing. It's teeny itsy bitsy tiny little channel. And even then, let's say I had like 15, 16,000 subs. Still, it's not that much. I don't get that much from uh as far as coffee and Patreon as a collective, total. I don't get that much. And I keep my prices very low because I know there are some people who may be viewers who may be close to the same situation as I am. And if they feel a little generous, they want to give $1 or two in a month, that's fine. If they don't, then whatever, it's free. But my thing is I know what it's like. And so therefore that's why I don't put my tiers in my Patreon and coffee very high. Because I'm just like, if you want to give more, then fine. But if you don't have anything to give, hey, enjoy the show. I don't care. But my thing is mutual aid, people, sending random, sums of money to me from once in a while. That keeps me afloat. That literally keeps me afloat. That's what happens. I'm trying to grow the channel so that I can survive. So that if in case, the federal government says, hey, you're making too much. Now we got to cut you off. Then I'll be like, okay, fine, go ahead. I'm okay. I'm also primarily doing this because I want my mom, who is 71, to not have to find another job, but she's still looking for a job right now. I don't want her to have to do that. She should not be having to work right now in her golden years. Like, no. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep our head above water. That's it. So that's how I'm doing it. So that's basically it. Yep. High off the government hog, my $24. Yep. Yep. You know what people and you know what? Some people may be pissed off to know that Save a Lot was actually selling packs of 3 T-bone steaks for $10. And we bought the hell out of them T-bone steaks. So 3 T-bone steaks for $10? We bought them up. Because when are you gonna get T-bone steaks for that much? Almost never. Maybe like once every 2 years. So we got them. But when am I gonna have that again? I don't know. 2026? Maybe. But yeah, that's the way it is. And yes, this is also true. Reality Revolution bought me this chair. The only reason why I got this chair is because of her, which I am deeply grateful for. And yeah, I was using the folding chair that I bought. How much was that folding chair? I think that folding chair was maybe 10, 15 bucks at Walmart. Something like that. But anyway, yeah. But let's get back to the topic at hand. So what did Andrew Cuomo do? So some of you who are from New York or are in New York are definitely privy to this information, which is good. But let's go here first. So this is out of Washington Examiner. Remember during C-19, I have to be careful with my language because, Twitter likes to, not Twitter, I mean, YouTube likes to flag certain words. Anyway, remember during the pandemic, there was, they considered New York the epicenter. So this says Beltway Confidential. Andrew Cuomo, admit your nursing home policy killed seniors. This is kind of an opinion piece, but this sets this sets it up for what I need to say. This is by Kaylee McGee White. So this was out of 2020. So this is out May of 2020. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's directive for forcing nursing homes to readmit residents with the C-19 was easily one of the worst decisions made by a governor during the C-19 pandemic. But Cuomo is too proud to admit as much, even as he reversed that policy this weekend. So he reversed the policy, but he got shamed into doing it, making sure that everybody can see this. He said, first of all, if you look at the facts, which is always fun, you can test your hypothesis on what is flawed. Look at how many residents we have in nursing homes. Look at the percentage of our deaths in our nursing homes vis-a-vis other states. We're down by like number 34. He said at the press briefing, so whatever we're doing has worked on the facts. He's not right. He's not right about that. Let's look at the facts then. According to the Associated Press, more than 5,000, this is at the time in 2020, more than 5,000 New Yorkers have died in nursing homes. That's nearly 1/5 of all U.S. nursing home and long-term care facility related deaths. And that number continues to grow by an average of 20 to 25 deaths per day. This was at the height of C-19, everybody. Oh, by the way, in Pennsylvania, I lost my great aunt and she was in a nursing home to C-19, by the way. So yeah, I know what it's like. Anywho, I digress. At first, Cuomo blamed this number on the families who continue to rely on long-term care facilities. Quote, now is not the time to put your mother in a nursing home. He said, that is a fact. What are they supposed to do, Andrew? Aren't you supposed to be the one to keep them safe? What are they supposed to do? Not everybody is privy to be able to afford, a home health aide or nurse to come in and help take care of their family member. Not everybody has that. Not everybody can afford that. Remember, we have private insurance in this country. We can't afford to do that. So some people have no choice but to put their loved ones in a nursing home. God, can't stand some of these politicians, I tell you. When asked why the state wasn't at least helping nursing homes prepare for the outbreaks by providing necessary medical supplies, Cuomo argued that providing aid was, quote unquote, not our job because nursing homes are privately owned. That's one of the problems right there. This is one of the major problems. See, this is one of the reasons. Look, hang on. This is one of the reasons why I call for nationalization of our healthcare industry. And when I say nationalization, I'm not talking about just hospitals. I'm also talking about medical device facilities. I'm talking about uh, rehabilitation centers. I'm talking about dialysis centers. I'm talking about clinics. I'm talking about nursing homes and long-term care facilities. I'm talking about gyms. I don't care. Nationalize it. Because guess what? You run into situations like this. You run into situations like this. Because what do they want to do? They want to cut costs. That's all they want to do. They want to collect the money and run away with it and not actually take care of people. Because they're privately owned. It's about the shareholders. It's about the profit. Says Cuomo also blamed the healthcare system. Oh, bright idea. Cuomo also blamed the healthcare system for trying to preserve as many hospital beds as possible. He said at one time hospital beds were precarious. When we started this, remember, the whole question was, will you have enough hospital beds? We're in a scramble to provide more hospital beds, he said. So here's the question. All right, let's go. Hospital beds. Everybody's talking about the amount of hospital beds that were here in the United States. They were saying we have a wholly inadequate amount of hospital beds that were going on that we had during this pandemic. Why? What happened? Why don't we have enough hospital beds in this country? Let me share something with you guys. And we'll get back to that article in a second. But this is important. All right. So this is from status.com. Statista. I think I said it correctly. But this shows the number of hospital beds in the United States from 1975 to 2019. In 1975, there were 1,465,828 hospital beds in the United States, right? Go all the way to the point where the pandemic started in 2019, we had a total of 919,559. So more than a third of our hospital beds in this country are gone. They're gone. What happened to all the hospital beds in this country? Why did a third of our hospital beds decrease? Why did it decrease by a third? What happened? Why did we do that? That doesn't make sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because let's look at this. Hang on. Let's take a look. What was the population in 1975? 1975, the population of the United States was 216 million. We're over 330 million now, which means 115 million people have been added to the population of the United States since 1975. So logic would say that if the population of the United States grows, that means the population of hospital beds should grow in a commensurate rate with it. But it didn't. It went the opposite way. The more our population grew, the less hospital beds we got. Why? What happened? Could it be privatization? Could it be shareholders wanting to get into the healthcare industry because they thought it was so lucrative? And so, in order for them to make more money, they decreased the supply to, you know, because they didn't want to keep up with demand. They wanted to cut corners so that they make more money. Is that what it could be? Capitalism killed some of your family members last year and in 2020. Yeah. What happened with the uh what is it? I think it's called the Federal Production Act. I think that's what it's called, where the president can actually designate a particular industry in order to manufacture enough goods in order to be able to backstop so that people have enough supplies for an emergency. Could we have uh, could we have actually produced enough N95 masks, you know, so that we have them stored and in mass quantities so that we can give them freely to people so that they can actually wear more masks so to prevent the spread, which that what we were supposed to. What about ventilators? Why didn't we have a huge mass production of ventilators and then just have them stored and paid for by federal dollars? Why didn't we do that? I mean, we could have, but everybody wants to cut those costs. They want to cut the costs when it comes to the people. And yet we still give billions and billions of dollars to the Department of Defense in order to bomb little brown children to bits in other countries. So we rather pay for killing people than saving them. Welcome to the United States. This is the country you live in. And so you have Chris Cuomo blaming the healthcare industry for this when what could he have done? He could have made it so that, look, no, nobody who is either asymptomatic or symptomatic or has any signs and they're tested for this virus, and if they test positive, they should not be going back to these nursing homes. And yet he allowed them to do so because he wanted to clear out the beds in the hospital. But we wouldn't have to worry about that if we had more hospital beds, would we? So that's the crazy part, right? So we actually 500,000 less beds in this country, hospital beds. 500,000 less hospital beds in this country from 1975 to 2019. And then you have Andrew Cuomo blaming the healthcare industry for his inability to actually do what he needed to do. How long has he been governor of New York? Could have enacted legislation to increase the amount of hospital beds in his state. Maybe some government programs that would have increased the amount of hospital beds so that people, just in case this happens. But no, that wouldn't be fiscally responsible, despite us giving billions and billions and billions of dollars in tax breaks and subsidies to these big ass corporations, or tax breaks and subsidies that we give to the oligarchs, or We give all this money to the military industrial complex to the tune of billions, if not trillions of dollars. And now, guess what? We're up the creek without a paddle. So that's one of the things that Andrew Cuomo did that basically led to the deaths of a lot of grandparents, parents, aunties, uncles, great grandparents, brothers, sisters, cousins. That's what happened. That's what Andrew Cuomo's inaction, that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but that's what happened. This is from the AP. Okay. Over 9,000 C-19 patients sent to New York nursing homes. More than 9,000 recovering C-19 patients in New York State were released from hospitals into nursing homes early in the pandemic under a controversial directive that was scrapped amid criticism and accelerated outbreaks, according to new records. So 9,056 recovering patients were sent to hundreds of nursing homes. Is more than 40% higher than what the state health department previously released. So they lied. And so it raised the question whether Andrew Cuomo's administration helped spread the sickness and death among residents. So that's what he did. That's one of the things that happened. And here's the crazy part. How much of this story was covered by the corporate media? Like, really, like, this is a scandal. This is a massive scandal that happened. And I barely saw anything from ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. Well, Fox News probably covered it a little bit because, of course, it's supposed to be the opposition, but whatever. But how much of it was really shown as the major scandal that it really was? I didn't see much about it. But if you go on independent media, oh, we were all over it. We were all over this story like white on rice and milk on a paper plate in a snowstorm season with salt. We were on it. And it got coverage in the independent media space. And many of you watching probably know about it, but a lot of other people probably don't even know that he had a hand in killing grandma. So that's what happened. Now, what else did Andrew Cuomo do? Well, let's go. As we know, he resigned. But why did he resign? And it wasn't even over the deaths of nursing home people. This is why he resigned. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced his resignation following investigation into sexual harassment allegations. So on top of his inaction, which killed your grandparents in New York, he was also too touchy-feely with women. This was back in 2021. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced his resignation Tuesday, effective 14 days following an investigation into sexual harassment allegations against him. New York Attorney General Letitia James announced August 3rd that the independent investigation into sexual harassment allegations against Cuomo found he sexually harassed multiple women and violated state and federal laws. By the way, it was 11 women that accused him. 11. He was on his way to Cosby numbers, baby. Says here, elected leaders across the state responded to the findings, many calling for Cuomo's resignation. They reached out to West New York elected leaders and the majority supported an impeachment of Andrew Cuomo. So this, hang on, let me get this one quote here. The governor says he accepts full responsibility and said our political system today is often too driven by the extremes, and the political environment is too hot and too reactionary. And of course, he talks, he quotes, you know, I'm a New Yorker, blah, 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 blah. And this gives the quotes from the people involved in the investigation as well as the victims as well. So this is why I'm saying I'm laughing at the fact that Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo are trying to do a comeback. Meanwhile, Chris Cuomo was advising his brother behind the scenes of what to say and how to say it, basically so that it softens the blow against the media, which basically produced a conflict of interest because he was an anchor for CNN, and really his job was to be adversarial to a politician. That's what the press is supposed to do. And he didn't do it against his own brother. So it looked bad on CNN. So to the point where CNN said, okay, see ya, Chris. We can't have you anymore. So he got fired, right? Because he tried to cover his brother's ass, basically. And then Andrew had to quit because number one, a lot of elderly people died because of his inaction, his dereliction of duty as a governor, number one. And number two, because he was touching a bunch of women that he shouldn't have been doing. And then guess what? He got caught. So, because of those two things, this is why I was laughing my ass off at them making a comeback. And the crazy part is, he's trying to make a comeback after sexual allegations of 11 women, right? It just shows how vapid the Democratic Party is, because if they're willing to take him back, how are they different than they're all the same party? And then on top of it, the deaths of thousands of elderly people that could have survived is also on his hands that nobody wants to talk about. No, not nobody. People in independent media, we want to talk about it. But people in corporate media, they don't want to talk about it. So this is the reason why it is laughable, simply laughable, that they want to go into the independent space. He wants to come in our house and basically try to clean up his image and get back into the good graces of the public. Here's the thing that the Cuomos don't realize. Pepper's Farm remembers. Oh, we remember. And this is why I'm bringing it up. And this is why I am grateful, very grateful to Roger. Roger, shout out, bro, for bringing this to my attention. Because guess what? Nah, bro, we're not going to launder your image. At least those of us who are politically astute and we have our ears to the ground about what's going on. No, we're not going to let this go. Just like we're not going to let the war crimes of people like Joe Biden go, or Barack Obama, or Donald Trump, or George W. Bush, even though they want to whitewash and launder their image. We're not going to let that go. No, get out of here. We're not going to do that. What do we look like to you? Right? Huh? So that's what happened. All right. So Whew. That went longer than I thought. I got to get to this next story. But that's what happened. So, um, next up, let me make sure. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Make sure that I. Oh, before I stop, let me go to the chat. And first, let me go to Rockfin. Okay. Thanks for the tip, Roger Meadows. Roger says, under Cuomo, we saw a record number of hospital closures. This is why he's forced nursing homes to take them in. Private equity, who owns these nursing homes, got worried about the lawsuits that might come. He gave them liability protection until a progressive lawmaker called him out, so he reversed it. But remember, he closed hospitals. If he was so concerned about healthcare, he would have pushed New York Health Act. Thank you. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Thank you. Right there. So, yeah. All right. Let me go to the chat here. Jenna says, weird how these Cuomo prayer candle types got proven so wrong, but will continue being wrong about shit over and over while being smug about it. Kat says, everyone in Arizona to grow legally. Okay, you guys talking about marijuana. Okay. Gary says, but CNN is picking up the tab. Yeah. Morgan says, L&R are just two sides of the same clown car. Well, as far as Democrats and Republicans, yeah. And yes, Yipper, Pepperidge Farm remembers where the bodies are buried. Gary says, the Cuomo crime family will be totally legitimate for 2024. Sad. I think I vaguely remember that. Dylan Radigan praising Cuomo. I vaguely remember that. Yeah. Creative experiments continues. Everyone thought Cuomo was God at the start of the pandemic, even Dylan Radigan. Yeah, everybody was praising him like crazy, despite all the stuff that he did. Despite everything. It was weird. Yipper 99, JB, you forgot the nipple ring when impersonating Cuomo. Oh my gosh. Yipper, you gonna get me in trouble. Yipper always getting me in trouble, man. Damn. Yes! Damn it, Yipper. Oh my gosh. I love y'all. Y'all are just yeah. And yes, you're right. Liberals and Democrats are not the left. Oh, trust me. They are not the left. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Let one person come in here and be like, "Oh, well, Joe Biden's a communist." That's wildly inaccurate. Anyway, so let's talk about poor people, shall we? Okay, so there is Dr. Richard Wolff is an economist, and of course, many of you guys know who Dr. Is it Dr. Richard? I think it's Professor Wolff. I'll just say that. Um, I would love to have him on, talk to him about different things, but he did his economic update, and um, he talks about people who are working full time, and I really want to get into this because this is something that um, I know firsthand. I've seen this as the child of somebody who worked full time, as well as someone who worked full time as well. And I know a lot of people who are going through this. So let's go through this, and I'll meet you guys on the other side. Well, I'll be stopping at intervals just to get this. So let's talk.
My next update has to do with families here in America that work full time. There's been a recent study, and that's what I'm basing this commentary on. There's been a recent study of what the conditions are of the people who work full time, 40 hours a week or more, and are poor. The study was commissioned and performed by the Russell Sage Foundation, very old, very well reputed foundation that studies all kinds of social issues. And they published something called the Russell Sage Foundation Journal of the Social Sciences. And that's where the report comes from. The article in the report was written by folks at Brandeis University's Institute for Child, Youth, and Family Policy. So these are very well established old organizations studying this subject. So let me give you a snapshot of what they found. 35% of families who work full-time year-round do not earn enough to cover the basic needs of housing, food, and childcare.
How many of you knew that? How many of you were aware that it was that high? Please put it in the chat if you guys knew or aware of that many people who work full time that cannot afford their basic necessities. Because I know, well, let me put my hand up. I know a lot of people who are like that. They cannot afford their basic necessities despite working full time in this country. %35. That's a lot of people. That being said, that just sounds like a failed state to me. Shall we continue? Yes, we shall.
Let me repeat that. Over 1/3 of the families in America who work full-time year-round are poor, to say it simply. Wow. There are not enough jobs, but even worse, the jobs there are pay so badly that you're poor even though you work full-time year-round. Let me give you some of the particular statistics. More than half of full-time working Black and Hispanic families, 52% of the Black, 59% of the Hispanic, do not earn enough to meet their basic needs. For white and Asian families, the percentages are 25 and 23%. Here's another example. Low-income Hispanic families. have extremely limited access to benefits when they work full time year round. More than half, 52% of Hispanic families do not have health insurance at their job, and more than 3/4 have no pension. You know what happens if you're a family working full time with tired parents coming home after a full time year round job, and you don't earn enough to take care of your family, and you have no pension, and you have no health insurance? You condemn those innocent children to be as poor as you are. They can't afford the supports, they can't afford the education. It's condemning an enormous portion of your people to endless generations of being at the bottom of the economic pole.
So that many people who are working full time, just get a job. We have a job. Well, it's your fault that you didn't go to college. Some people did go to college, or they may have had varying circumstances where they may have had to quit college, or they already do have a degree, but they can't get a job in the field that they were in, or the job that they were in, it doesn't pay like it used to. Bootstraps, you say? But JB, all you have to do is work really hard, and you can achieve and get and live your dreams in this country. You mean to tell me that somebody that's working full time isn't working hard? And you have these people literally not able to afford their basic necessities? Whose fault is that? Are you going to blame the individual for that? Well, if they just, held out and, you just go and get yourself another job, but everybody's paying the same amount. And guess what? I can go to a business and they're like, oh, well, cashiers start at $10 an hour. Well, I would like to negotiate that. Sorry, there's no negotiations. It's either $10 an hour or you go someplace else. You go to the next grocery store. Oh, we're hiring. What's your starting for cashiers? $10 an hour. Well, I would like to negotiate. Sorry, no, we don't negotiate. That's the starting price. And you keep going to place to place to place to place to place. Same thing over and over and over. It might vary. It might be 950. It might be 1150. Maybe, but it's still going to be still around the same. You're all going to do the exact same price. And you have all these corporations. You don't have as many mom and pop shops anymore, so you have to go to these big, corporations in order to get a job, and they do the same hiring. They do the same starting wage for different positions. Corporation wide. So guess what? I can go from Walmart over there to another Walmart over here, and they're going to be the exact same price. So it doesn't really matter. I can go to try to be a front desk agent at this Marriott, and I can go to another Marriott over there. I can go to a Marriott Courtyard, could probably do the exact same amount. And then the same prices, that they're going to pay for a front desk agent at the Marriott, they're going to be doing at the Hilton. So what's the difference in price? There's not really that much of a difference. So then what? Then what? Right? Well, go to school. Well, now I went to school. Guess what? Now I have a ton of money in student loan debt. Well, it's your fault that you guys shouldn't have got that, signed that contract. Well, I had no choice because you guys told me if I actually wanted to actually make more money, I should have went and got a degree. But now the degree is worthless because guess what? The degree that I was going to get, the position is actually pays a lot less than what it used to. So guess what? I wasted $50,000 or more on an education that doesn't pay as much as it did when I first went to college. So now what? Now what? Shall we continue?
And you know what it also teaches us, in case we still need to learn? Don't ever think that the reason we have poor people is because they don't work or they don't want to work or any of that rationalization. Here's the statistics. Poor people are often, in huge numbers, people who work, full-time, year-round. And you know, one of the lessons you give to children if they're poor, despite their parents working all the time, they're not going to have a lot of respect for jobs. They're not going to look for the kinds of work that their parents never found and are probably not there for them yet either. Don't make up a program that provides jobs for people, because the jobs for people have left more than a third of the people working year-round full-time poor.
We just need a jobs program that gives people, just give people jobs. Just give them jobs. You know, it's funny when they say just give people jobs, but they never talk about what kind of jobs or the pay. They never talk about the pay, and they never talk about the types of jobs. And then when we talk about actually increasing pay to a living wage for people who have the jobs that essential workers, by essential workers, you guys know exactly who I'm referring to. When we talk about increasing their pay, guess what? People will go, well, they don't deserve it. Reminder, wasn't it during the pandemic that y'all were losing y'all minds if you guys didn't get your coffee? Weren't you guys losing y'all minds if there was nobody to stock the shelves at your grocery stores? Weren't y'all losing y'all minds if you guys couldn't order, that bigger plate from Panda Express, from DoorDash or Uber Eats? Weren't y'all ready to lose your minds? You guys realize that the word of essential means extremely important, direly important, right? And you guys don't want to pay them a living wage. And so here you go, they're working full time, and they can't afford to live. And you're like, just give them jobs. They have jobs. They have jobs. They have jobs. They have them. They have them. So then what? They have them. We need more jobs. We have jobs. But then guess what happens? You get a lot of people that are like, who were getting, oh my God, what's it called? Unemployment benefits that were, upticked, from the federal government and in state governments. And so they were out of work, but they were actually making more on unemployment than they were at their actual job. And so guess what these people were doing? They actually have more funds than they usually do have, which means things were actually better for them. And so when it came to going back to work, guess what they did? They did this. Oh, you want us to have jobs? Okay, fine. We'll get them when y'all start paying more. Then guess what? The capitalists got mad. They got their tighty-whities in a bunch, and they were like, oh, well, nobody wants to work anymore. They don't want to work for us anymore. Stop giving them free money. Stop it. Stop giving them money. We want them to come work for us for free. And then guess what happened? oh, Dark Brandon over there decided, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to cut it off so that they go back to work for the sake of capitalism. So guess what? Then people had to go back to work and work for dumbass, low-ass wages again. It's true. And now guess what? They're working full-time, but their wages are low. Their wages are still depressed. And people aren't making what they need to make in order to survive. The shareholders are okay, though. The executives and CEOs, they're okay. The owners are okay. But when it comes to the workers, no, they're not okay. But then they still get vilified, even though they're working full-time. Does that make sense to you? Does that make any sense at all? Is that fair? Hang on, let's question. Is that fair? And please don't come into my mention saying, well, life's not fair. Look, life may not be fair, but why in the hell will we help it to continue to stay unfair or to increase the unfairness? What kind of justice is that? What kind of empathy is that? And why are we just throwing our hands up and saying, well, life's not fair? Make it fair. Make it fair. Oh, because guess what? If we make it fair, then that means that some people who actually benefit from the unfairness, they're actually going to get the fair treatment and get some of that money that they stole, that surplus labor that they stole, taken back away from them. And they don't want that, because fairness means that they don't have a leg up anymore. Fairness, true fairness means that the oligarchs, that the super rich aren't super rich anymore, that the oligarchs aren't oligarchs anymore. That's what fairness means. Fairness means that you will no longer be a billionaire or even 100 millionaire or maybe even a millionaire. That's what fairness means. Because it means that you're not better than anybody. That's what fairness means. Fairness means recognizing that you're just the same human as anybody else in this world. And that the money that you acquired, the money that you're sitting on top of, that you're hoarding, is not yours. That's what fairness means. That's what fairness is. Fairness means that Elon Musk is no longer a billionaire. That's what fairness means. Fairness means that people like Joe Biden aren't president because they actually were appealing to the oligarchs in this country and managing this oligarchy. Fairness means that you won't have Bill Gates buying up all the farmland in this country. Fairness means that BlackRock won't be buying up all the houses and making us a nation of renters. Fairness means that Honeywell, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin aren't making billions of dollars every single year in the military industrial complex to blow up people abroad. That's what fairness is. Fairness means that we're actually moving away from fossil fuels so that we actually have a planet to live on. That's what fairness means. They don't want fairness. They never wanted fairness. So please don't come into my mentions and be like, oh, well, life's not fair. You know what? Let's make it fair. But if we make it fair, guess what? The people who benefited from it not being fair, they're going to get pissed off. Too bad, so sad. That's the thing. That's true fairness. Equity and equality. Sorry, whew, God.
It's a very important issue. I come finally to pregnant women.
Okay. So this is actually a really good segment by Dr. Wolff. And it's also in the description as well. But yeah, he will talk about they're not, they're, these people, they're not making, they're not making the right choices, so that's why they're in the position that they're in. No. They're making the right choices. They're actually working hard and doing what they need to do. The problem is that the system is rigged, and we're done playing the game of this system. We're done. People are like, well, people aren't financially literate. Whose fault is that? You guys need to take personal responsibility. It's kind of hard to take personal responsibility when people aren't giving you the education that you need in order to be responsible. And then on top of it, why aren't we talking about community responsibility? Aren't we responsible to each other because we're all part of each other on this planet? That's why I say what I say. That's why I say what I say. Yeah, Solgado. Thank you. Financial literacy doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference because if the system is rigged, just because you know how the game is played doesn't mean you're still actually going to succeed at it. You may be more adept, but the thing is that the people who already got all the money from the bank, in the monopoly game, guess what? You can try to get some of the money off of them, but they're hoarding the rest. You're still SOL. So yeah, that's why it is important for us to let people realize the power that they have. This is why I talk about it all the time. Realize the power that people have so that they are able to rise and actually take the power back. They're doing it, especially in South American countries. Thank God. They're doing it in other countries, you know, and the people are taking their power back because the thing is that we cannot continue this system. This system, capitalism is a system that requires infinite growth on a planet with finite resources. It is unsustainable. You cannot have this. And everybody who sits here and thinks, oh, well, we just got to keep growing. No, 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 no. You can't do that because it means that you actually end up having to exploit people in order to keep growing. That's wrong. That's wrong. The thing is that the system needs to be changed. And I'm in communication with people right now who are coming up with ideas how to change it. And yes, Roger, I called Angela. I did. So we're talking. So just to let you know, I'm talking to Angela. So you won't be like, call Angela. I'm like, yes, okay. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of ideas. And so just to let you guys know, I'll be moving over to RBN in a second, but we'll be talking about the Activist Summit. And I want you guys to join me when I go over to RBN because, some of these things that the activists are going to be talking about are things that really can help us not only activate more people to realize our power so that we can build ourselves up, but it also can be an educational tool so that we know how to navigate and maneuver because we're really trying to endure the collapse of an empire. You see what I mean? So I hope that you guys be there. This is basically going to be the anniversary of the General Strike Summit Activist Edition. So that's basically what's going on RBN. So we'll be talking about that on the next hour on RBN. I hope you guys can join me on there. Before I go, I'm going to go into the chat a little bit. And then I'm going to head out because I'm running a little bit late. But let's go into Rockfin. Okay, so thank you for the tips on Rockfin, Roger Meadows. I know you don't particularly care for these people, so don't jump through the screen to strangle me. But what I knew would eventually happen, Gen Z first started unionizing and striking. True, they're not the only ones. Other generations are doing also. Gen Z is learning from millennials, and now enlistment is down. I said the next thing will be college. Crystal did a monologue yesterday on Gen Z not pursuing college. Now we need to turn them on to studying abroad for free, where some countries will even pay you to attend. They might not come back getting all that free healthcare and faster and better quality internet speeds. We need an entire generation of Z to do a mass exodus out of US to study abroad. Make United States colleges and universities cry uncle until they relent and offer it for free by law and tax endowments. Um, Look, one thing you got wrong, Roger, is I do particularly care for them because some of them are my nieces and nephews. And I'm not going to jump through the screen to strangle you. In fact, I may come through the screen to hug you because that was a great point that you made. And I think that that's like, for instance, I actually am thinking about recommending to my nieces and nephews to study abroad if they can, because, for when they do that, then it'd be great for them. So, yeah, so that's a really great point, and so I appreciate you talking about that. So great points by all of you. Let me see. Yeah, and so Gato, you're absolutely correct. Cobra just throws money at insurance bloodsuckers. Yes, absolutely. So RBN should be starting in about a minute. So I am going to get going. However, I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in. Uh, Thank you to the patrons on Patreon as well as on Coffee for your contributions. For without you guys, I would not have a channel. So I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Roger says, thank you for the super chat. Says, I meant you not caring particularly for, Crystal and Sagar. Yeah, well, but look, if they make a right point, then they make a right point, and that's the that's the point. If they're right, then they're correct. Give credit where credit is due. Anywho, thank you everyone, and I will see you guys on RBN. Thank you so very much. Water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world betting you found it, and be kind to everyone and yourselves.